Hi, Kenny here, and I've been out for a bit of a ride already, and I recorded some stuff, but some of it didn't work because my microphone wasn't synced up. So I'm doing a little bit of a re-recording here. I'm just at Rockwood Conservation Area, and I am trying to enjoy the best. I don't know, like, what do you call this? Like shoulder summer season? So we're heading into fall, right? And this is by far one of my best late summers ever. The reason being, I have solved my ragweed allergy issues. So for the last like decade or so, I used to have like the worst rock and ragweed allergy, and I'm talking like sneeze after sneeze, like rubbing your eyes out, taking antihistamines, and like not being able to stay conscious because I just get drowsy. So I finally figured it out. I did some consultation with ChatGPT, and I realized that if I take something like a nasal steroid spray, Flonase, and I do a little bit of a spray each morning, it tackles my allergy issue right at the, I don't know, nasal gland, sinuses. And I use an allergy drop for my eyes. I no longer experience like the burning desire to rub my eyes out when I am riding, especially when you get that cold, get all that air in your eyeballs. So this has been great. It's what a relief and what a revelation. But essentially, if you tackle your allergies, especially when it comes to pollen and allergen, right at the source of contact, oh my God, so much more bearable. So much more bearable. Anyways, I kind of been reflecting on my riding this season and kind of figuring out how far I've gotten and to this point. And there's a couple things I've kind of learned this season. I've begun to kind of like wrap my head around that like anxiety every time you get out and ride. And I think I've come to the conclusion that if you are a new rider and you still have that anxiety, which is normal, you have that anxiety when you head out to ride. Every time, I completely forgot to strap my helmet on, so we're gonna go straight here. No exit. That's another thing I want to talk about. Let me strap my thing on. Where was I? Yeah, the tackling your anxiety when you're riding, and before you head out, you have that tension, apprehension, maybe you call it like your spidey sense or something, and it induces anxiety. Totally normal. Your fight or flight survival instincts are kicking in, and people have asked, I've read people looking for advice on this, and I think my only deduction is that if it does become overwhelming, you are unsure of your capabilities as a rider because you're new, and you are unsure of the circumstances you might be encountering. So, that's a private entrance, I don't want to go there. All that to say is, if you have this overwhelming anxiety when it comes to getting on a motorcycle and riding for the first time, or even if it's your first season, if it is your first season, Go ahead, Ron. If it is your first season, take that time to get over that anxiety. That is one of the things you're going to have to tackle. Just like the roads, just like traffic, congestion, when to change gears, that anxiety is a concern that you have to address. And I say that because I too, for my first season, just seem to have been filled with those forms of anxiety. And what I try to do is I try to focus on the things that I can control, and I take it slow. If I don't feel like going out for a ride, but I still want to get on the bike and putt around, I'll just go around my block. Do that as many times as you need to get comfortable. And, you know, maybe that third time around the block, you're going to be like, hey, maybe I'll take a left here instead of a right. And that is progress. You got to celebrate your little progresses, or your little progressions. So, like, now that I'm into riding my second season, I've been able to address that issue a lot better. And it's got to be earned. You cannot fake progress. You got to work for it. There is work. Ooh, that smells like manure. So, a couple of things I'm trying now these days, and in my second season, and it's just I'm finding reasons to keep my progression going, and I'm not trying to be the fastest rider. I'm trying to be a conscientious rider. I'm trying to track my lines a little better, get better in tune with my shifting, and generally just become a better rider. And I find a couple things have helped me recently. One, I started doing this thing where I'm just running over small objects, like a pine cone. Go for it. See what it feels like. Weird surfaces, go for it. No exits, dead ends, go for it, because you can make a U-turn, and if it's one more U-turn you were taking on your bike that you normally wouldn't have, it's better for you. I've also realized, like, in my second season of riding, I've started kind of questioning why I even do this, why I even get on a motorcycle and ride. And I've realized that, like, a lot of people get on their motorcycles and they want to get on their motorcycle to shut off. And I mean, like, they want their motorcycle to engage them like 100%. And I've realized I'm not about that. I much rather prefer to have the motorcycle be 25% of what I'm doing, another 25% set to, you know, adventures, another 25% set to, like, social aspects of motorcycling, and maybe the other 25% to, like, maintenance. And yeah, like, I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but I do feel like you have to put that into check and figure out what you want out of a motorcycle. Because if you don't know what you want out of a motorcycle, it's very easy to be tricked into the manufacturer's marketing, telling you that you have to progress as a motorcyclist. You gotta be, like, able to take corners at XYZ speeds, and you gotta be able to ride on a highway. You gotta be able to overtake on a whim. Figure out what you want to do on a bike, man. It's the only way to go. But I've also come to the conclusion that a lot of people justify riding a bike, and you never hear that from cyclists. You never hear people asking you, like, oh man, like, why do you ride a bicycle? Right? Like, I think about why I ride, and I think about why I even get on a bicycle. And it's just for the hell of it. Because you can. Because you can explore. Because you can have a good time with your friends. Because there is a pastry shop that is half an hour away from here that you love to check out, and you would probably never take your car out to pick up a donut, but you will do it on a motorcycle. That's the kick I get out of it. And I'm not gonna try, as so many people, like, after realizing and meeting riders, and you meet all kinds of riders, obviously, you meet riders that, like, they're trying to fool themselves, or they just are trying to ignore the fact that, like, it's just fucking fun. You don't have to be treating this like an adult job. Just have a good time, man. Chill out. Be in the fun lane, right? Anyways, I'm going on a little bit too much. But, you know, like, there's people that I know now that I've ridden a motorcycle. There's the guy that, like, just goes through bikes. There's a guy that, like, wants to be, like, the best rider because there isn't anything else on a motorcycle other than being the best at, I don't know, going fast around corners, right? And there's people that want to use a motorcycle to just shut their brains off. And you gotta figure out, man, you gotta figure out what kind of rider you are. And I've been having a lot of these thoughts because having ridden a Bullet 650, and I enjoyed it, not gonna lie. However, I think the Bullet only offers me one thing that I truly need in a motorcycle, or truly desire. I don't have a need for it. And that is, you know, when the traffic moves, there are times I do find on the Bullet that I cannot keep up. And I mean, like, I'm not slow by any means. I just cannot be at the speed that I otherwise would have wished to be. And this is mostly between like 80 kilometers to 100 kilometers. That jump from the progression from 80 to 100, it's slow. It is slow on a Bullet 350. Sometimes it's a gearing issue for me. Sometimes I'm just too light on my throttle. I'm not in the mood to kind of like try and keep up. But I do realize the Bullet 650 easily does that for me. And that's one thing I do appreciate about the Bullet after ridden it. After ridden a bigger bike, actually. But it does not have the charm of this Bullet. Sad to say. Just listen to that. Listen to that. So yeah, just some thoughts on the motorcycle today. Anyways, thanks for watching. You may have noticed my latest channel name change, and I do feel like it suits my vibe. So, hope you're enjoying the clip, enjoying my rants. Cheers, I'll talk to you later. Bye.